NFL Daily is presented by Manscaped. Every guy out there watching right now, go to manscaped.com/chat, 20% off and free shipping. We normally go live every single Monday and Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. But we had to go live a little bit earlier because we had some breaking news. The Houston Texans have fired Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, and this is a long time coming if you're asking me, Mitch. They should have done it before he traded DeAndre Hopkins, but hey, better late than never, I suppose. Romeo Crennel set to take over as the interim the rest of the way. He is a brisk 73 years young as he's been their assistant head coach, previously their defensive coordinator. He stepped down from those duties last year. But 0-4 to start this year. I don't think that's really the story of Bill O'Brien. Tough schedule.
Part of it.
I think it's more of bad executive moves in the past. You should not trade for David Johnson and ship out DeAndre Hopkins. And in big games in the past, they get into the playoffs. They don't win those games, though. So you got to try and find someone else and get someone else in there to see if you can get over the top with a different head coach.
So with Bill O'Brien, he's out. We were kind of thinking, who are some potential replacements? Who are some other coaches that could be on the hot seat as well? Here's some of the replacements that we threw together. Eric Bieniemy. I think if every single coach that gets fired this year, because there's going to be more than just Bill O'Brien, if Eric Bieniemy isn't on your top of your list to at least be a candidate, you're doing something wrong.
I think Bieniemy's gotten to the point where he can be selective. Like, I don't think he would take the Jets job, for example. I think he'd just hang out in Kansas City, wait for a better opening. But
agreed.
Houston's intriguing, right? Like, yeah, you don't have your first or second round pick, but you have a franchise cornerstone quarterback. And he's worked with one in Patrick Mahomes. Maybe a guy working with Deshaun Watson would be intriguing enough to leave a very comfortable situation in Kansas City. Because honestly, he could hang out there until Andy Reid retired if he wanted to and be their head coach. Problem is, that might be like 5 or 10 years from now.
Yeah, I mean, I think Andy Reid, what he's been able to do with the Chiefs is incredible. I think the most interesting name for me, at least, would be Lincoln Riley. Could you get the Oklahoma head coach out of college football? I mean, what's the better job, the Houston Texans or Oklahoma?
I think it's actually a fair question. I still actually think it's Oklahoma overall, but maybe this is the time Lincoln Riley's ready to make that jump. They're off to a 1-2 start in Norman this year. He's got a freshman quarterback. Maybe he's intrigued enough by the opportunity to work with Deshaun Watson.
So let us know in the comments section, was it smart or dumb? We're going to make this the pinned comment on today's video. So for all you watching on YouTube, while you're getting hit with that YouTube ad break, I want you to scroll on down in the comments section and comment to our pinned comment. Bill O'Brien fired. Was it smart? Was it dumb? I think we all know what to type. Type your S for smart. Let's get into some news around some top running backs that were injured. Austin Ekeler's the first one. We'll get to some news on Nick Chubb here in just a second. Left week 4 versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, suffered a hamstring strain. And obviously, this is going to be a big loss for this team.
Yeah, and Justin Herbert, a quarterback who's played really well, checked the ball down a lot in college. And Ekeler's a nice safety valve to have, right? One of the better receiving running backs in the NFL, and was actually running the ball pretty strong this year, too, taking over for Melvin Gordon as the lead back. So out 4 to 6 weeks. It's a big loss for the Chargers, who they are 1-3, but they're kind of one of those good 1-3 teams, right? Like, they almost beat the Chiefs. They almost beat the Bucs. I would still say they're in the mix for one of those wild card spots, but without one of your top offensive weapons for about a month, that's going to make things difficult.
Definitely is, and I think when you look at Austin Ekeler and you look at how this team is going to be able to still compete, this is a team that needs, I still think, to run the football, and luckily for them, I like Justin Jackson. I also like Joe Kelly as well. Josh Kelly, my mistake. I think these are probably a pretty solid depth chart, if you will, for running backs, but this is a team built on their defense, and yes, Justin Herbert, who I would actually say, I understand he was drafted in the top 6. We could all agree that he's at least impressed me. He's made some beautiful throws.
He's been damn good. He went toe-to-toe with Tom Brady yesterday. He's been really, really good so far. It's just the thing about Ekeler, you can design pass plays for him.
Yeah,
Justin Jackson.
He had over 90 catches last year.
Josh Kelly can catch the ball, but you can actually use him on certain routes, so that's definitely going to be a big loss.
Today's show is made possible by Manscaped, so everyone that's watching, if you like what we do, also go out and support our sponsors, Manscaped, because without them, the lights, they're not turning on. And also, speaking of lights, you can see the light on the end of that Lawnmower 3.0 that's going to help you get into those hard-to-reach places. So everyone that's watching right now, go to manscaped.com/chat, where you can save 20% off and get free shipping. That link is also available to you in the comments section. It's available in the description. Girls like it when you're cleaned up and shaved down there.
Big facts.
Big facts? There you go. Manscaped.com/chat. I mean, we're going to go from Manscaped. We got to talk about Nick Chubb. I almost have to cancel my Chubb Hub now on my fantasy football
plenty
team.
of jokes to be had there. He's heading to IR after his injury against the Cowboys. The good news for Cleveland is there a better RB2 in the NFL than Kareem Hunt?
Probably
I don't
not.
think so. My fantasy team's feeling pretty good about it, but all seriousness, hopefully Chubb is back very soon, but you got to be feeling okay with Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, I mean, Kareem Hunt's obviously a very talented running back in his own right, but I mean, Nick Chubb averaging 5.9 yards per carry.
Been really
was
good.
Second in the NFL last year behind only King Henry. I mean, Nick Chubb last year had 1,449 rushing yards.
Yep.
And we talk about, the fact that the Browns just dropped 49 points on the Cowboys. But we don't nearly talk about that. You could put Nick Chubb in that top 5 running back discussion. Luckily, they have Kareem Hunt, who's a great running back in his own right. But this Browns team at 3-1, it's going to be a big-time loss.
And it's interesting to discuss because this team has been winning because of that 1-2 punch of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Is Kareem Hunt ready to take 25 carries per game? Because you look historically at Baker Mayfield in Cleveland, when you don't ask him to do that much, they win. You ask him to throw a bunch, they lose. He's probably going to have to throw a little bit more now. We'll see if they can continue their winning ways without Nick Chubb for the next few weeks.
If you guys continue to find yourself looking for the latest NFL news and rumors, we got you covered here. Here at Chat Sports, we basically release an NFL, heck, even an NBA video just about every single 3 hours. So if you like free NFL content, if you like live shows, we go live Monday, Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. If there's breaking news like, I don't know, Bill O'Brien fired, we're going to talk about it. So go ahead, click that big red button that says subscribe. Harrison, let's get into some debates here around the Cleveland Browns and the Dallas Cowboys. Are the Browns heating up? Are they legit?
Yeah, I mean, kind of to expand off what we briefly hit on just a minute ago, without Chubb, it's going to be, difficult the next few weeks. But I'm not ready to say they're a contender because, A, I think Dallas stinks. So I don't take much stock into what happened yesterday. But B, they definitely are improved, and for a couple of reasons. One, they're committing to run the football, and two, Kevin Stefanski is a far better coach than Freddie Kitchens. That's just a fact. Look, first game, ugly, right? Played really bad against Baltimore, but found a way to beat Cincinnati when you probably shouldn't have, to be honest. But then you got on track, right? Blew out a Washington team. That's what you should do. Took care of business at Dallas against a bad defense. 49 points is probably a little more than I would have expected, but
Agreed.
That's a defense you should score on. Now, it kicks into gear. Colts, #1 defense in the NFL right now. Pittsburgh, top 5. So next 2 weeks, we'll find out how legit this squad is.
And I totally agree with it. And I think when you look at the Browns' upcoming schedule, and, we're talking about this because I've seen it, out there on ESPN. I wanted to flow out some ideas of potentially who's a better football team, the Browns or the Cowboys, and I understand that they just played, and it's pretty interesting when you think about which team could end up making the playoffs because you might even make the argument the Cowboys have a better chance. So we just went through the entire schedule for the Browns. I want you right now, the 3-1 Cleveland Browns, who I would say have been playing better, and better each week that they've kind of gotten together.
They're getting better each week.
I want you to, that's probably the better phrasing. Let me know their record after 2020. Go ahead, scroll on down. Let us know in the comments section. Let's go to the Cowboys discussion now. Are they just a complete and total joke? They've allowed 146 points. That is the most in the NFL, and you could easily make an argument they should be 0-4.
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, sure, you could say on the flip side maybe they should have beat the Rams in week 1, but they trailed most of that game too, so I don't really think that's necessarily the case. They are a joke. We put a question mark in the title of that graphic.
Big Play Slay says, yes, they are an effing joke.
With this much talent, I know the defense is banged up and, a new scheme, Mike Nolan, all that stuff. It's an absolute disgrace.
Yeah.
You give up 38-plus points 3 weeks in a row in the NFL. That's bad, guys. That is really, really bad. And look, Dak Prescott, he's on pace to shatter the passing yard record in NFL history. I think the record's at 5,500 something yards. He's on pace for 6,700. That's great. I play Madden too. At the end of the day, Dak said it himself, I'd trade all the yardage for wins. You know why he's throwing for all these yards? Because they're getting their ass kicked, and he has to throw on every single play to try and catch up. You don't want your quarterback to throw for 6,000 yards because that means you're losing a lot of the time. So I don't know, man. Luckily, you got probably the second worst team in the NFL this week at home. You lose to the Giants somehow, Mitch? Forget it. This is absolute.
If they lose to the Giants, they might just bring back Jason Garrett.
You legitimately start talking about, is McCarthy on the hot seat if you lose to the Giants?
I mean, he's already on the hot seat. I don't care what anyone says. You're the Dallas Cowboys. 1-3 doesn't work no matter who. If they would have brought in Bill Belichick and they're 1-3, you're the Dallas Cowboys. That coach is going to be on the hot seat. I'm sorry. Period.
You're in Big D. That's how it works. Tom from left field is saying they kept Garrett for 10 years. Well, when's the last time he started 1-3?
Predict the Cowboys' 2020 record. Let us know down there in the comment section. They're 1-3. Luckily, they get to play in the NFC East. But what I want to be able to show here and talk about is who's more likely to make the playoffs, a 3-1 Browns team or a 1-3 Cowboys team. So right now, here's the AFC North standings. The Browns 3-1, but they're in third in their division. That's that. Then you got the NFC least, where you have the Cowboys at 1-3, but at 1-3, I think that they're better than Washington. I think that they're better than the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they have the best chance of winning that division. So you're looking at a 1-3 team and a 3-1 team. I'm very curious on where you think these guys will end up finishing. Who's more likely to make the playoffs?
I'll answer it like this. I think Dallas is more likely to win their division, but I think the Browns are more likely to make the playoffs because they could be a wild card team. NFC East is not getting a wild card team. Not breaking any news there, but you got to win that division with how this has started. So better chance to win the division, Dallas. Better chance to make the playoffs, actually going to go with the Cleveland Browns.
So let us know, CLE for the Cleveland Browns, type DAL for the Dallas Cowboys. I am actually going to be in agreement with you. So if you guys have made it this far in the video, if you could, please go ahead, like the video. We would definitely appreciate that.